Honestly, we don't do near enough breakfast on this channel. And tonight, that's about to change. We're going to be making the best Southern style chicken biscuits you're ever going to put in your tight, wet mouth. Yes, I meant that the way it sounded. Paired with some incredible diner style hash browns. So let's get started. Alright, so we're going to start this recipe off with the one item that takes the longest to get ready, and that is the chicken. The reason for that being is that it needs to marinate at least 30 minutes. Optionally, you can do this overnight for maximum flavor and tenderness, but we're going to be serving it same night, so 30 minutes is about what you want here. So what I've got here are 3 boneless, skinless chicken breasts that I've trimmed up a little bit, and we're going to be cutting these in half vertically. Like so. Alright, so the reason why we're cutting them in half vertically instead of horizontally is because these are going to be going on top of a biscuit. You don't want this huge fillet of chicken on this much biscuit. You want some girth to these guys. So what we're going to do is we're just going to slightly pound these chicken breasts so the pieces are about the same size. So this is the thick one right here. We want to get it to being about the same size of your thinnest piece. So do that for each piece of chicken. You want to get them to be nearly the same size. Not completely flat though. And by size I mean thickness. You just want to hit them a couple times just to loosen it up. And once you get all your chicken breast pieces to nearly the same thickness, it's time to create our simple yet spicy marinade. Alright, so in this container I have 2 cups of regular buttermilk. And to this, we're going to add our spicy Southern style breakfast chicken seasoning, and that's going to be 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, 1 teaspoon of ground white pepper, 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, and half a teaspoon of cayenne powder. So we're going to toss that in, give it a good whisk, get that color in there. Make sure it's all combined and broken down. We're just going to very gently lay our chicken pieces in. Very important to get these in their marinade as quickly as possible, so that way they have time to tender up and absorb all the flavor. Alright, now that all of our chicken breast pieces are completely submerged in our marinade, we're going to cover this and move it to the side and let it marinate for about 30 minutes. Alright, so now it's time for the next in prep, and that's our diner style hash browns. You've seen them before. They were first featured in my loaded breakfast burrito video. If you guys haven't checked that video out, it's phenomenal. Those burritos are amazing. There's a card floating right here somewhere and a link in the description. But I know a lot of you guys are new, so we're going to go over them one more time because I love you. That's why. And I love breakfast. So what this is a double batch of the same hash brown recipe I used in that breakfast burrito video. In this bowl are 6 medium red potatoes that I've washed and peeled. Guys, you don't necessarily have to use red potatoes for this. You can use russets, whatever you like. And we're going to shred them on this cheese grater. However, a box shredder would work better, but I've been too lazy to buy one. So we're just going to shred this on our cheese grater until it reaches the consistency of bagged shredded cheese. If you guys think you're done with prepping your potatoes at this point, you are sorely mistaken, because there's one vital necessary step that you have to take. These potatoes are full of water, so we got to make sure we get all the water out. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our potatoes, either lovingly squeeze all the juice out of them over the trash can or over the sink, whatever you feel more comfortable doing. After you lovingly squeeze your spuds, put them in a different container free of moisture. We do not want to be reintroducing any of this water back into our potatoes. And don't give no baby squeezes either. We want to make sure we're getting all the juice out. And if you think you're done now, you're still wrong. We're going to wring these guys out one more time. It is super crucial to make sure we eliminated as much natural water from these potatoes, because if you don't do this, they're not going to crisp up in the pan. They'll still be holding on to too much water, and they're going to be soggy, they're going to be mushy, and they may stick to the bottom of the pan and eventually burn. You're not going to have hash browns at that point. So let's do this again. And if you squeeze really good on the first time through, you shouldn't have a whole lot to get out this time. And it's to the point where I'm barely getting any moisture out of these guys. So we're going to put these all back together and then season them. Since this is a double batch, we're going to use double seasoning. What this is 2 teaspoons of kosher salt, 1 teaspoon of ground black pepper, and 1 tablespoon of onion powder. And now we're going to massage that into our spuds. And those dry powder ingredients is also going to help draw out some of that moisture at this point. The less moisture you have in your potatoes, the better hash browns you're going to have. Don't lose any of these guys now. And this already smells amazing. I can't tell you guys just how good this smells. Wish we had smell-o-vision. That should be a thing. YouTube, let's activate smell-o-vision. And now it's time to prepare potentially the most crucial part of this recipe, and that is the buttermilk biscuits. Here we are at my brand new Ninja food processor that I got over the holidays as a gift. Guys, Christmas was really good to me this year, so I'm grateful for everything, as per usual. I love getting new kitchen gear. Alright, so to this brand new food processor, I'm going to be adding 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 2 teaspoons of some fine-ass sea salt, or regular table salt, and 1 teaspoon of regular granulated sugar. Knock that in. Alright, and now we're going to let this pulse for a few rounds to get everything neatly combined. Alright, and after a few rotations, we have something that's very well combined. Alright, so this next step is absolutely crucial for the best buttermilk biscuits. We're going to be adding 1 cup of cold, unsalted butter that I've just chopped up into little pieces. Guys, if you're not sure how much 1 cup of butter is, that is 2 sticks. So this is 2 sticks of unsalted butter that I've just cut up. I'm going to add all of that in. And we're just going to pulse this until we start seeing little beads of dough. If you still see solid butter, we still need to pulse. And we've achieved what we're looking for here, which is kind of like the consistency of dry packed snow. So let's go ahead and pour this out into our bowl. Alright, and this is kind of the consistency that you're looking for here. Just going to break that apart. And now we're going to be adding in 1 cup of ice cold buttermilk. And we're just going to be working this dough back and forth to make sure everything is equally hydrated. We're going to continue doing that until we get every last bit of this dough covered in that buttermilk. So now we're going to just pour all of our dough out on the board here. Now don't worry if it looks a little dry, it'll all come together in the end. We're just going to go ahead and start kneading this until a shaggy dough forms. Alright, so that didn't even take 4 minutes for this to happen and for a nice dough ball to form. So now we're going to go ahead and lightly flour the top of our work surface, which is our biscuits. Get our hands nice and floured up, and then we're going to flour up a rolling pin. What we're going to do is we're going to roll this out so it's about 3/4 of an inch in thickness. Alright, that's about what we want to see. Then we're going to fold it. This is called lamination. That's what's going to give you your flaky layers. So we're going to seal that up. We want to do it again. Probably should have floured my work surface first, but that's fine. Alright. Now it's time for the final roll. I'm going to turn my cutting board this way. And now we're going to roll out one last rectangle. Alright, and this is the final roll here. We're not looking for a super long piece of dough. We're just looking for one that's about the right thickness. And now we're going to take us a little cutter like this and cut out some nice biscuits. Alright, so what do we do with this shell of a dough? Well, we get it rolled back together. Right. And we roll it out again. So about the same thickness. Alright, so this yielded me about 10 biscuits, and all that I'm going to do now, after all is said and done, is I'm just going to brush the tops of them lightly with a little additional buttermilk. This is completely optional. Just gives your biscuits a little oomph, in my opinion. Alright, now that all this is done, it's time to get ready to cook the stuff. So all that's left to do now is to create the perfect breading for our crispy chicken pieces that are going to go inside of our biscuits. So what I have in this bowl are 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, and I mixed until thoroughly combined. And this is our seasoning. This is 1 tablespoon of kosher salt, half a tablespoon of ground black pepper, 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, half a tablespoon of chili powder, just regular chili powder, 1 tablespoon of smoked paprika, and 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. I'm going to let that roll and mix until thoroughly combined. And don't be alarmed if this sounds like a whole lot. We're not going to be using all of this breading mix right here. Like I say in all of my fried chicken videos when I bread the chicken, it's best to aggressively season your batter than to go in a little shy and then have a bland piece of chicken come out because you didn't put enough seasoning in. So we're going to do like always. We're going to take a few spoonfuls of our marinade, and we're going to drizzle that into our bowl of batter mix. And we're just going to mix that around with a fork until we start to see little beads of dough form. That's going to give us our crispy bits. It's kind of like the dough is pilling up. Y'all see that? Look at all those little clumps that we just formed. That's what we want. And also, like we do in all of our fried chicken videos, we're just going to take our chicken pieces, drain them, and aggressively cover and press down on our protein, making sure every nook and cranny is covered in our batter. Voila. So rinse and repeat for the rest of your chicken pieces. Alright, so this is what your chicken boys should look like. Alright, so first things first, we're going to throw our biscuits in the oven. Make sure you have your oven set to 425 Fahrenheit. And these are going to cook anywhere between 12 to 15 minutes. Oven times will vary, so please check at 12 minutes. And if it needs more time, adjust accordingly. So we'll meet you at the stove. Alright, so the hash browns don't take very long to cook up at all. So we're going to go ahead and get started deep frying our chicken. I have my oil set to 375. Anywhere between 350 and 375 will do. We're going to drop in 2 chicken breasts at a time. Since these are rather thick pieces of chicken, I will dare say this will probably take closer to 6 to 8 minutes for them to fully cook. We'll check them at 6 and see if they're done. Again, we're looking for a target temperature of 165 or above. So in this pan, all we got is just some canola oil. It's shimmering, ready to roll. And we're going to add these lovely hash browns in. And it's actually really good that we let the potatoes sit with those seasonings on them because that's going to help draw out moisture. So these potatoes have been sitting out for a while, covered in all those great flavors. So we're going to let that sit for about 3-ish minutes and then check. Alright, it's been 3 minutes, so let's check for sear and crust. And look at that, you guys. We got it. So we're going to take these hash browns and flip them. Well, that was all supposed to go together at once, but oh well, it didn't. Now, if you didn't drain the water out of your potatoes, you wouldn't have had anything that looked like this. So we're going to let the next side sear for about another 3 minutes. Alright, in 3 minutes, we're going to flip it again. Again, good color. Alright, now we're just going to tear this sucker apart and maybe cook for an additional 2 to 3 minutes, and then we're going to check it for doneness. And so we have the moment of truth happening here at the fryer. Would you look at that? That is beautiful, but is it done is the question. Well, that piece temped at 206. I'd say that's done. But our second piece, which is much larger. Oh Lord, is that not beautiful? That piece temped at 210. Juices are running clear. Alright, so we're going to cook the rest of these chicken pieces for 6 minutes on 375. Hash browns only have a couple more minutes. This is looking pretty good, y'all. Here, my favorite part, which is plating and tasting. And I must admit, these biscuits did take a bit longer than expected to cook. And that's because of how I stacked them in there. I should have been more mindful of that, or used 2 different pans to cook them on. Stacking them like this took me about 25 minutes to make the biscuits. The only thing that I did after they were done was just top them off with some nice fresh melted butter. So let's split this open and see what we got here. Oh my God. Is that not the nicest looking homemade biscuit you ever seen? And then we have our chickie. This place smells like a diner in here. Oh my God. Look how perfectly that biscuit fits this chicken fritter that we made. Absolutely perfect. But first, we're going to take a little taste of these diner style hash browns. They are packed with flavor. Oh my God. Now for the real test. Oh my God, that crunch. The spice, the richness. This is the best biscuit experience I've ever had in my life. Look at that. Just look at it. It's like a 15 out of 10. Guys, the prep might be killer. And it's so worth it in the end. This is light years ahead of McDonald's, Bojangles, or any breakfast establishment that serves something like this. Get off your butt. Make your family some really killer American-style biscuits. With some hash browns today, guys. It beats anything. It's fresher. I can't describe it. It's so good. Until next time, this is your boy, the Mad Chef, and I'm out.